Today's project, we're going to make an incinerator. Got this drum some time ago, and we're going to be pruning. My wife's going to be pruning roses today. She wants to burn the prunings so the diseases are all killed. This drum has had the lid taken off it, which is handy. The company got it from weren't allowed to sell whole drums because they can explode if you do it all wrong, which is good. I didn't want the top anyway. And conveniently, they even drilled holes in the bottom. You can see the light coming through there, because that lets the water drain out. I'm going to use the lid for a false bottom to try and stop heat getting through to the bottom, and then to every time you burn it somewhere it'll kill all the grass. So I'll make a false bottom, and then we've got to make a grid mesh for the branches to burn on. We've got to cut a side out for air to get in, and we'll get on with that. Okay, I've cut the hole in the base of the incinerator with my angle grinder. Wore the blade right down, but went without issue, so that's good. Now I'm going to put some wood on the underside, some bits of wood, cut that up, screw it to the underside. That's just to lift the whole thing off the ground a bit, to stop it killing grass when it's hot, and to stop it rusting out. So I've put the 2 bits of wood on the underneath of the drum. That's just to lift it off the ground a bit, to stop it rusting, getting wet, preventing the heat getting into the ground. And on the lid here, that's been cut off the top, I've put 2 bits of wood, and it's going to go in the base to provide a air space under the ash. I'll show you. It's gone like this. Airspace underneath. Clever. I've got this 6mm rebar reinforcing iron, and I need 2 pieces to go through at about that level. 2 pieces from one side to the other, and then I'll make a mesh out of other iron to sit on top of these 2 bits of metal. I'm just going to cut these with my big bolt cutters once I've measured them. My big bolt cutters were not up to the game of cutting 6mm rebar, or is it 10? I'm not sure. Could be 10. It's a job for my angle grinder anyway. Cutting a hole for the rebar with an angle grinder. and the same hole on the other side. The last thing left to do is to make a grid that fits on top of these two bars. So I'll have to weld that, a grid made out of smaller rebar that just sits on there, and then the air rolls in the hole, burns the stuff on the top, and I've got 2 layers on the bottom to keep it cooler against the ground. So I've got these 2 cross pieces in now. Now I just need to make a grid for it. So I've got quite a bit of this 6mm bar, so I need to cut it into approximately 500mm lengths and then weld it to make a grid. This will definitely cut with my whatever they are. Now I'm making up a grid, welding it with my little portable welder, 140 amp, well, semi-portable, still need mains power. It's going all right, just one more pit to put on. The welding tip just fell out. Another rod. Okay, I have made a grill. Functional 6mm grill. Now we can drop the prunings on top of that. Probably start it with kerosene and a match. And we can move the incinerator around with a hand truck. So I'm now going over where my wife is pruning roses. Here's the roses getting pruned. I have my serious doubts as to whether it'll burn. Looks quite green. But we'll see. The roses are very green, so they're not burning the best. But I'm very pleased with the incinerator. It's a beauty. My wood bits underneath did not work out at all well. This is only after one use. And they've burnt right out, even though there's a false bottom on it. And the false bottom thing burned out straight away. The false bottom was a great idea. Didn't last at all. They burned off. I didn't realize so much heat was going to be generated on there. Unbelievable. So I'll ditch that idea. But I'm still keeping a false bottom. What I'm going to use is 3 tin cans, which will lift it 6 inches, 150 millimeters off the base of the incinerator, just to stop the ground getting underneath so hot. Okay, there's one of the tins on the bottom, bolted on, bolted into the bottom. That'll be fireproof. It'll lift the whole thing up. This will be flipped up the other way and dropped onto the bottom. And that way it will just hold the base off the ground, hold the fire off the ground a bit. There's the 3 cans bolted to the base. That'll be flipped upside down inside the incinerator, and that'll be the fire base. I'm pleased with that now. That's going to be fireproof. I decided to put the tins on the base as well too, seeing as how I had the tins. They're bolted onto the bottom, and then this thing goes inside, upside down there. There it is. It's finished. It's got the false base inside the incinerator and held off the bottom too, actually, with tins. Quite pleased with that.